I've been training for pretty much my whole life. Everything from tennis to martial arts to gymnastics, CrossFit, and even dance. But crawling on the floor for 30 days straight exposed gaps I didn't even know I had. Not in my strength, not in my flexibility, but in my nervous system. Here's the thing about crawling that nobody tells you. It's not a fitness exercise, it is a neurological test. Specifically when you crawl in a contralateral pattern, such as your right arm with your left leg, you are activating the cross-body connection between your left and your right brain hemispheres. This is the same neural pathway that develops in infants between the ages of 6 and 12 months, and it forms the foundation for every complex movement pattern you will ever do. Most adults stopped crawling at the age of 1, which means that most adults have been letting that neural pathway degrade for their entire adult life. What does that mean in practice? That means reduced coordination between your upper and your lower extremities. It means inefficient force transfer through your midline. It means compensations in your gait, your lifts, your posture that you have normalized so completely you don't even feel them anymore. I thought I was immune to this. I was wrong. Here is what happened over the course of my crawling experiment. In week 1, the first thing I noticed was how asymmetrical I was. My right shoulder would drop slightly every time my left knee came forward. I had never seen it because I'd never moved slowly enough on the ground to notice it. In a squat or a deadlift, that asymmetry gets loaded and reinforced. In a crawl at ground level, moving slowly, it was impossible to hide. By day 5, I'd identified 3 compensations that I'd been carrying for years. A slight right hip hike, a tendency to hold my breath through transitions, and a left shoulder that was subtly less stable than my right under load. None of these showed up in my training. All of them showed up immediately when I started crawling. In week 2, my wrists hurt, not from weakness but from stiffness. Years of gripping bars and rings had shortened my wrist flexors. Crawling requires sustained wrist extension under load, which is a completely different demand. I started doing 5 minutes of wrist prep before each session. 2 weeks in, the pain was gone. The more interesting thing that happened in week 2, my crawl started to feel rhythmic. There's a specific quality of movement that emerges when the contralateral pattern clicks in. It stops feeling like coordination and it starts feeling like flow. That transition is a neurological shift. You can feel it happen immediately. In week 3, my shoulders started to change. Not from loading. Bear crawls don't really load your shoulders the way that pressing does, but from the sustained low-level demand for scapular stability in a position that most adults never train. The serratus anterior, the lower trapezius, the rotator cuff as a stabilizing unit rather than a prime mover. My overhead position in handstands improved without any additional handstand work. That got my attention real quick. By week 4, I was crawling for 10 to 15 minutes continuously. Not because it was a goal, because it stopped feeling like effort and it started to feel like maintenance. The most significant thing I noticed was that my gait changed. The cross-body integration I was building on the floor transferred directly to how I walked and how I moved. My arm swing became more fluid, my stride more symmetrical. I've spent years working on movement quality, but 30 days of crawling moved the needle more than I expected. If you want to try this, here is what matters. The pattern is everything. Right arm, left leg. Left arm, right leg. If you are moving same side arm and leg together, you're not crawling, you are shuffling, and you're missing out on the entire neurological point. Start slow. Crawling slowly is harder than crawling fast, and it is also more valuable. Speed lets you cheat, slow forces quality. Keep your hips low and level. The moment that your hips start rocking side to side, you've lost tension throughout your midline. Lower your knees closer to the ground if you need to. Just keep the hips still. Don't forget to breathe continuously. Most people hold their breath throughout the transitions. That's a nervous system stress response. That is your body treating the movement as a threat. Breathe through it deliberately until it stops triggering that response. The way you will progress is that you're going to start with 2 minutes of crawling daily. Add 2 minutes every week. Try backwards crawling by week 3. It's going to be a completely different coordination challenge and it will reset your difficulty level immediately. The challenge for you is to crawl for 2 minutes right now. Counterlateral pattern, knees low, hips level, continuous breath. Then tell me in the comments, did you feel the asymmetry? If you found a compensation, that is not a failure, that is only information. And that information is where training actually starts. The fitness industry sells you complexity. More exercises, more equipment, more programming. Sometimes the most revealing thing you can do is to get on the floor and to move the way you did before anyone taught you how to move. If this video resonated with you, give it a like, subscribe, share it with your friend who needs to move better, and I'll see you in the next video.